Hey yo, psychiatric patients are a very common call type for EMS providers in New York City and worldwide. Stay tuned to this video. I'm gonna share with you the do's and don'ts on dealing with psychiatric patients. Check it out.
Female, trespassing on floor number 10, and the male is exposing himself. Of course, an on order.
Hey yo, the number one thing you don't want to do when you have a psychiatric patient is take whatever it is that they're saying out of their mouth, whatever it is that they're doing personal, as an offense to you and who you are on and off the ambulance. Because a lot of times I see EMTs, they listen to what drunk people say, they listen to what psychiatric people say, and they listen to what people who are on drugs are saying. You need to understand these people are not most likely coherent with everything that's going on, and there's no reason why you need to take under consideration, extreme consideration, and consider to be valid everything that comes out of their mouth. Now, that doesn't mean you ignore them completely. That doesn't mean that you basically throw whatever it is that they say in the garbage mentally. But if they are trying to offend you, if they are trying to push your buttons, that's what I mean by don't take personal whatever it is that they're saying, because of the simple fact that most of the time these people are not alert and oriented times 3. Most of the time these people are alert and oriented times 3, but they're going through a psychiatric issue, and that's more than enough of a reason for you not to take what they're saying as seriously, and especially don't take it personal. The next thing I gotta say, I got my notes right here. The next thing I got to say is don't be confrontational. If you have a psychiatric patient, if you have a drunk patient, if you have an emotionally disturbed patient, I mean, we use the word psychiatric and throw it around like it's nothing. But in reality, if you use the Psychiatric Society's DSM-5, I believe it's called. I remember I read this when I was studying to take the United States medical licensing exam. Basically, every single sign and symptom that a person with psychiatric issues has can be found, or every single diagnosis that they term, from depression, minor depression, to major depression, to all these type of depressions, all these type of personality disorders, all of those traits within those diagnoses. So basically, for you to create a diagnosis, you need to have one or more of the overlapping signs and symptoms. But I say that to say this, my people, there's so many things going on with us inside of our mind, like negative self-talk, like crazy thoughts that come through our mind, like self-limiting beliefs and etc., that if we were to play these thoughts on a loudspeaker to a psychiatrist, they might diagnose us with depression, minor depression or major depression, and give you medications as well. Then you'd be a psychiatric patient yourself. So although this video is termed mostly for psychiatric patients, understand we're mostly focusing on emotionally disturbed people. Because you could be emotionally disturbed, and so could I. And most of the time I was, for a very large portion of my life. But either way, what I want to tell you is this: don't judge them. That leads me to my next one. Don't judge people that are emotionally disturbed. Don't judge people that are diagnosed with psychiatric issues, because of the simple fact that if you were to share your thoughts and what you feel on a regular basis with a psychiatrist, they might diagnose you for something as well. That's something that they're very good at. The next thing I want to tell you is, of course, don't be confrontational. So don't take it personal. Don't judge them, and don't be confrontational. So if they're being confrontational with you, don't throw flame on the fire by doing the same thing, or like trying to incentivize a conflict with these people, because it makes no damn sense. And one of the main reasons why I mention it is because I worked with a brand new paramedic, and all she kept doing was egging this person on and taking personal what he said. Basically, all the wrong things, this list of things that I have here are based on what I seen another paramedic do. And one of the things she did was she was being confrontational. She was taking personal what he was saying, what he was doing. The next thing you don't want to do is let your guard down. Do not sleep on these people. Just because they seem docile, just because they're nice and calm, doesn't mean that things won't change in the split second. So, for example, I spoke about this before, where basically this person who we finally were able to restrain after he tried to stab EMTs, after he tried to stab paramedics, he was finally so tired of being manhandled by the first responders trying to help him that he was just laying on the ground. He was breathing very, very deep, trying to catch his breath because he was out of shape, cigarette smoking psychiatric patient. But all of a sudden, he caught his energy and bit a cop on his heel. Luckily, the cop had boots on, but you would have never expected for this person to go ahead and bite the cop out of nowhere. So whenever you're around a psychiatric patient, do not let your guard down. Don't let your guard down around anybody, especially someone who's emotionally disturbed. Now, those are the don'ts. Now, let's talk real quick about the do's. Things that you do want to do when you're confronted or when you're treating a person with a psychiatric history with signs and symptoms of being emotionally disturbed is you want to be agreeable. You want to start conversations with them. These are the do's that you want to do, and it works for me every single time. What I do is I always remind them that I'm there to help. Whenever they're upset, whether it's a person who's psych, EDP, drunk, whatever, I always remind them, and I use these same words, and you could use them too. Hey, we're here to help you. We're here to help you. Hey, we're here to help. I'm here to help you. Always remember to say this. Next thing is be agreeable. If they say something, don't say, hey, no, you're wrong, unless it's something, out of the ordinary that you have to disagree with. But any little thing where if they say, yo, the sky is red, then be like, oh, is it really? Okay, cool. And how about the bus? How about the yellow school bus? What color is that? So a good thing is, notice what I did there. I start to entertain their thoughts. I start to entertain them so I won't leave them in the boredom, because the boredom is the devil's playground. If you entertain them, if you speak to them, if you start a conversation with them as if they were a regular person not going through anything, they will respond favorably to this. Not every single time, but the odds are if you treat a human like a human being, then they will behave like a human being. So, another don't that I just remembered is, don't be a conditional motherfucker. You need to provide unconditional care to your patients, unconditional health care. So just because they might be a person who's considered to be less useful for society because they live in a psychiatric ward doesn't mean that you should treat them any less than the person who lives on a high-rise building. Don't be a conditional EMS provider for any type of patient, whether it's a person suffering from a contagious disease. Of course, you take your BSI, body substance isolation precautions, and with EDPs, you wait for PD, you wait for them to arrive, and etc. But at the same time, don't treat them any different, and don't stop rendering care to them because of a simple diagnosis that they may or may not really deserve. So, back to the do's. Be agreeable, speak to them as a person, ask open-ended questions, and just continue asking them questions like, hey, if they're receptive to this, of course, because if you're getting on their nerves, then obviously stop doing it. But if you see a person who's talkative, hey, what's your favorite food? What do you enjoy to do? And just entertain them until you reach the hospital and eventually transfer care to the emergency room that's receiving them. All right, guys, I hope this helps. Peace.